If you don't have Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast in your rotation on Spotify, then you can let yourself down. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie.
Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
I'll tell you what, another funny story was having to do with Bar A at Belmar was, it was Tuesday night is the big night for Bar A. I believe it still is. Yeah. I don't know. I've been down there quite some time.
Not now. Maybe virtually it still is.
Yeah, well, in the fucking real world. So me and my pal Jason, that's you, drove down. We had a shore house. We were like, fuck it, we're going to have so much fun, this and that. We're like, yo, we went to our shore house. We pre-gamed. All of a sudden, 2 fucking hours later, fucking stories, this, that. Let's just say we took the pregame a little too far.
Yes.
A little too far. Like it was we're having too much fun bullshitting and talking and fucking whatever. We're like, fuck, we gotta go out. It's getting fucking late. It's gonna be fucking. So we stumble out of our house. We walk the fucking, same house John and I walked to that time. 6 blocks, 7 blocks away. Walk down, get there. All of a sudden, fucking tons of fucking fun. We're walking in. All right, I show my ID. All of a sudden, the dumb fuck I'm with, that's you, doesn't bring his ID. And the fucking bouncer's like, I can't let you in, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm like, look at him. He's fucking bald. How old this cocksucker is. So turns out that approach didn't work.
Was that Daryl Strawberry?
Yeah, Daryl. Yes, it looked like Daryl Strawberry stunt double.
The guy was carding at the door.
Yeah. So we booked it back to the house because now it's getting fucking late. Now we're like, fuck, everyone's gonna be leaving, fucking getting late, blah, blah, blah. We book it back to the house. We get your ID. We're like, fuck, let's have another drink. We may or may not have said, okay, we need to make up for lost time. We may or may not have hopped in your car. And we're like, okay, well, we can't pull up to Bar A because the cops are there. So we'll drive to make up for lost time, and we'll park a block or 2 away. Yeah. I mean, in theory, it sounds fucking fantastic.
In theory,
right?
Yes.
No harm, no foul.
Yes.
We do that. Go to Bar A. It was a time crunch. We had a great time. Drank our balls off.
Yep.
So we leave, and being good, upstanding citizens, we're like, hey, well, obviously we're not gonna fucking drive the car back home. We're gonna walk home. We ate at that fucking shitty hot dog truck outside.
Everybody knows Bar A has burped up some foul fucking stenches from that hot dog truck.
So we walk back to our house. Fucking our tits are fucking lit. We go home, get in the house, go to bed. Wake up the next day. Now it's a Wednesday. Now I can't remember if we had to work the next day. I don't know what. I mean, I feel like we went down for the night, and I feel like we were working the next day, which is inexplicable at this point. But we're like, all right, fuck it. All right, let's go home. We just go out to your car. What? So
where's the car, Rocco?
It was like, dude, where's my car? In our drunkenness. We did drive the car and park it away from a couple blocks from Bar A. No fucking idea where. We're walking around fucking Belmar, and like finally it comes back to us like where the fucking car is. But it was like a good like 15 minutes. We're like, okay, no idea where the fuck the car is.
Do you know what it's like looking for your car down the shore, hungover, and that morning heat is hitting your body, and you're sweating, and all you want to do is just fucking get to where you got to go.
That was pretty funny, actually. That was our real life dude. Where's my car story?
A lot of good times down there.
We had a bunch of them at Bar A.
Anybody out there who hears these stories, I would just like you to write in at NTTFGPOD@gmail.com, and I want to hear your DTS story. I want you to label it DTS story. Anybody from Jersey, from New York, I want to hear them. I want to hear some fucked up down the shore stories, and we're gonna read them on air. What do you say, Rock?
Oh, I can't fucking wait.
Rocco, today we have a very, very special guest.
Yes, we do.
Not only is this our first guest from across the pond, she is a bassist virtuoso. with her own custom jewelry, I might add.
Nice.
If you extracted a little bit of Cliff Burton, Geezer Butler, and the almighty Lemmy, you would have the great Becky Baldwin. Becky, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, very well.
We're hanging in there. Just want to make sure during this time you and your family are well. Everyone's well.
Yeah, all very good. Yeah, just kind of overall very spread out across the kind of southwest of England. So I miss everyone, but everyone's doing well. Everyone's healthy and fine.
Very good.
That was an amazing introduction, by the way. Thank you very much.
Well,
he's spot on, though. Just tell you that.
So I'm going to start this off by saying I would say 2 years ago, possibly. I could be wrong, but about 2 years ago. When you scroll through Instagram and you have just feeds, what they recommend, what you would like, and Rocco and I are big metalheads, and you popped up and a little thumbnail, and I said, all right. I said, to be honest, I saw the Rickenbacker, and I was like, I was like, okay, all right, let me click it. I went, oh my God, this girl's phenomenal. Like,
remember what song it was?
Oh, it might have been maybe a Maiden cover.
Yeah.
Okay. Now obviously the past couple of days, I knew we were going to do this interview, so I wanted to read up a little more on you. But the first thing I saw, your right hand just reminded me of Geezer Butler. That's what it reminded me of.
Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So my introduction to you was on, I believe, Instagram, and I saw you came up and you're doing like a Maiden cover, and it was fucking phenomenal. And I'm like, who is she? So I later realized from a band that I think I've heard of throughout the years, Hands Off Gretel.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool that you'd heard of them before.
I've heard of them. I don't know much, but I did hear of them. I know the name. I knew the name.
Yeah.
So that's where I started to definitely to follow you. I just have to say that the covers that I think that's where you mostly got started as far as being recognized. Yeah.
I mean, it was, I don't know, when I first had Instagram and I was just kind of messing around with it, like posting pictures of animals and stuff. And, I just thought this is what it's for. And then, I don't know, I just was like messing around on Facebook, playing like a brush cover or something. I just like, I'll just play this and post it, just hashtag bass, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I put it online, and suddenly like all these people that weren't my friends and weren't my like 100 followers that I had suddenly were just swarming towards my page, and I'm like, what? Why are they? Who are these people? And what are they here for? Yeah. And then I realized that, oh right, people like to follow musicians, and they like this kind of like bass covers thing is cool, and they want to hear more of them. So I just started doing a couple of them every once in a while, and now it's just gone really crazy. There's like almost 90,000 people on my Instagram, and I never thought that would happen.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and it's just little less than a minute clips of playing my favorite song. So I'm very happy about that. That's all they want. They're easily pleased, I guess. It's cool.
So not only are you obviously well-educated musician, even in metal, but also other genres, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I'm sure you could jump up with a jazz band, with a folk band, and okay, we'll key you in. All right, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I played with a few, kind of like folk and urban and jazz kind of things. I mean, I'd say I'm definitely most comfortable with anything under the rock umbrella term, but I've had to kind of do a bit of everything. I like to branch out into other styles, but I don't know, it's not my area of expertise, I guess.
Gotcha.
I could tell you this. So Archie is normally like, he's my almost like music scout. Like he finds and seeks people out and is like, yo, you gotta listen to this. And your name came up and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, okay. Like I rely on him to find cool shit on the internet or wherever he sources it from. And man, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so random that I don't know, people find me from all over the world really, because none of my bands have ever played in America or anywhere that far away. So I find it very bizarre that there's so many people that have heard of the bands and are following what I do because of just because of the internet. It's great.
It's actually one of my questions that I was going to ask. Have you ever ventured off to New York or LA to play gigs or anything? Yeah.
Well, I've been to LA twice. Those weren't really for gigs. The first time I was doing some recording with a band that was kind of based out there, and this band called Dorja is still going now. And the second time was just earlier, a couple months ago in January for the NAMM show, the big music event.
Yeah.
And I got to do a little live performance with that band Dorja, because they all travelled to LA as well. We met up, and that was my last performance with that band because I left last year. And but yeah, we just got to do a little open mic. It was like not really open mic, like more of a jam night. It was the what was it called? It's not the whiskey. It's the I can't remember what the other like
Viper Room.
Yeah, Viper Rooms. Yes, it was the Viper Rooms, and we got a little feature slot in the jam night, and so we got to play like 4 or 5 of our own original songs, and it was great. So it was kind of like I played a gig there, but it wasn't like an official proper gig where we're
gotcha
billed properly. So, but yeah, it was really cool. Like it's kind of a dream of mine to tour in America.
You got to get to New York when this is all done.
Yeah, you will,
Becky. I'm sure you will. But just to just like everybody from here is like, oh, I would love to play Europe, you know, like all the little clubs there and festivals and such. But like, it's, you know, not to toot our own horns, but you got to play New York, obviously, if you're, you know, you play rock.
Go there.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for bands with visas, and obviously, I don't know. Yeah, firstly, you're forwarding the visas, then, you know, proving that you're, I don't know, good enough to do it. And I don't know, I guess the problem with America is it's so big you wouldn't know what state to start in. Like there's so much ground to cover, and even if your statistics online are saying, oh, most of your fans are in America, it's like, well, what bit? Where
do I start? Well, it's fun. I mean, I would never be able to answer that type of question, but like it's obviously, you know, like California, New York, New Jersey, like that, those main states. But like, there's a lot of appreciation in the Midwest of America.
Yep.
That like as slang we call East Bumblefuck, wherever the hell they are. all these states, you know, Nebraska, Wyoming, Idaho. But like, there is a lot of appreciation for metal.
I think what happens is because, so we're from like, I mean, New York, New Jersey area, right? It's a heavily saturated market. So is California. I think because there's in the two coasts, there's so much competition, right? There's so many things to do that, like you said, Arch, the Midwest, when there's not much going on, people like gravitate to that.
Yeah. And especially, a lot of festivals, like I don't know if you heard of like Carolina Rebellion and
Rock on the Range,
Rocklahoma, like I wish that these festivals would actually take a little bit from the European festivals, because the European festivals you could see Maiden, Wu-Tang Clan, Bjork.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All types of music that people just go there and chill just to go see music. Where by us, which is great because we're metalheads, but like, you know, it's just, you know, it's a day of rock, which is awesome. But like the European festivals are like that. I think that's pretty cool, and they're so big. They're so big. So. I don't know. I think one day the U.S. will start to get bigger festivals, but we got to get you over here. Bring it to the mats.
I think if we could just get like one really cool festival slot, and then we could maybe plan some other tour dates around it, that would be amazing. We just need like one big event to give us a shot, and then that would be just crazy. I love that.
I was having a little hard time following all the bands that you're in.
So, it was a bit complicated for a while there.
So I just want to put, if you could throw real quick a little timeline for me, because I'm seeing, like, I know like Hands Off Gretel, and I see Fury. Dorja, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I Destroy. If you could do a little timeline for me. Just where you started with these rock bands.
Okay, I guess the first one that I was doing a lot with is a band called Control the Storm. They were kind of more melodic metal, kind of more symphonic, kind of opera metal. And I did their first album, Beast Inside. And then I was also, during that time, I joined Triaxis. And with them, they were more kind of traditional heavy metal. I did their album 0 Hour with them. They've now disbanded.
Okay.
And also kind of around this time, I formed, with the forming member, I Destroy, the kind of punk band.
Yes.
And so that I did the first 2 EPs and singles with that band.
Which reminded me of Hole a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Similar vibe, yeah. And then I think 2016, that's when I joined Doja, and we did that first recording. I left Doja in kind of like earlier this year, or was it last? I think it was last year, the end of last year.
Gotcha.
And then Fury, I joined in 2017. And and then I Destroy, I left in 2017, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I lost it. 2018 maybe, and then I joined Hands Off Gretel in 2018 as well. So,
gotcha.
From going, there were some other like small kind of projects and like solo artists that I was kind of working with. Wasn't like a proper like band, but I was kind of depping for them or kind of one of their guest musicians regularly. So there's a few others, but those were ones that I kind of contributed quite a lot to.
Yes.
But now it's just the 2 bands, Fury and Hands Off Gretel, that I'm just focusing all my attention on, because juggling all of those bands was a nightmare, absolutely.
And we will get into in a little bit, the Bristol Rock Center. I'd like to talk about that. Yeah. You know, you're even sponsored by Dario and all that stuff. But first, I'd like to start with like Fury. I checked out in a good way, like some 80s metal. Yeah. 80s and 80s. And the singer I thought was like from Texas. Like he sounded like, I don't know, for some reason, like his feel, like I wouldn't know what his musical interest would be other than I would think Southern metal, because it just sounded like Southern metal to me. Oh, wow. Little twinge in his voice. You would hate that if you said that. I'm sorry, sir. The other day I said he was playing me this riff. He was like, I was thinking of this riff for the new album. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, it's quite cool. It's got a kind of like Southern rock kind of vibe. And he's like, rubbish. No, it doesn't sound like that. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize he hated Southern rock as much as he does. Apparently he sounds like it. So yeah. I mean, that was the feel that I got. There's a good chance I might never meet him. You could tell. It's fine. But so how did that band get started? You joined that band? Was that band already? They were already going for quite a few years. I think the band's been going for 10 years now. So the album that we just released was the 3rd studio album, and that's the only one that I've been on. So yeah, I just joined in 2017 at the end of that year when they were touring, and then started working on this album that we just put out, the Grand Prize. I'm curious to ask, what is the popularity of that band over in the UK? Like, how big? It's not very big. I think it's a shame, because I think the music's really cool and there's loads of people that love it. But I think the band has been like kind of slowed up by a few things. There was a big lineup change recently, like around the time that I joined. We also got a new drummer and new lead guitarist. So the only person that's still in the band from the previous albums is just the singer. So gotcha. I think quite a few things that have like held the band back from climbing up the big festivals and doing better gigs. But I'm hoping now that we've got a more stable lineup and this 3rd album is going down really well. Yeah. We're already starting to work on the next one. We can kind of get some more momentum now. Awesome. But, they're not a big band. We still play a lot of quite small venues, like 100, 200 capacity venues, and, decent turnouts. But I don't know, we're not getting the big festival slots and support for bigger bands that we really want to get. But I think it'll come. I think the industry will kind of wake up a little bit and just be like, oh yeah, that band, they were all right actually. We remember them. We kind of forgot where they went for a while, but they're back.
So let's take it. Let's take a step back. How did you get into playing bass?
So I got really into like rock music when I was around 12. I was starting to listen to like a lot of new bands, like Motorhead. I really thought was cool. And I was looking at the band members, and I was always drawn to the bass player, and I always thought that they looked the coolest. They had like this big weird guitar, and I don't know, they always had a kind of, they seemed very like serene and just cool. They're not trying to prove, not like in your face, like shredding and singing and stuff. Sometimes, you know, they are doing that, but so that was kind of what made me think I want to try bass. And then just when I started playing it, it just stuck. I'd been kind of playing piano on and off before then when I was a kid, but I always just got frustrated with it and couldn't be bothered anymore, would give up. And then a few months later, I'd be like, oh, I want to try again. But once I started bass, it was like, that's it. I just want to work on it now for a very long time.
Nice.
And I'm still finding things to learn, so it's great.
That's awesome.
And so you primarily play Rickenbackers, right?
Yeah.
And is that just due to like the lineage of that, you know, particular brand and that particular bass?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was just those basses that I just thought looked really cool when I first was inspired to pick up the bass, and so it was always the dream bass I wanted to have. Yeah. You know, not just for the sound, but I don't know. There's a lot of bands from like the 70s and 80s that were playing using Rickenbacker basses, and I just like that, the look and the style, and yeah, how it sounds as well. So I always wanted to go after that, and then once I did get that Rickenbacker, I just felt like it was the piece of the puzzle that I needed, and my playing, I just felt more inspired to play again, because I think with my older basses, I was just kind of, I don't know, losing a bit of, not losing interest, but, you know, I was like, okay, this old bass, yeah, okay, I'm learning stuff. And then once I got that Rickenbacker, I'm like, okay, now I've got my thing, my like dream bass. Now I've really got to make something of this. And yeah, and then I don't know, I just love them.
So it looks like, did you get this made, or did Rickenbacker, the Rickenbecky I saw?
Yeah, I got that made, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, these basses are so iconic, from Lemmy to, like you said, and even in the 70s, you know, like they're heavy basses, correct? Yeah,
they're reasonably heavy. They're not like the heaviest, but yeah, a little bit of wisdom.
They're very iconic basses, and the sound that you get out of them is very ferocious, because I definitely hear a little of a grit and a little distortion in your sound. And I know it's stuff from pedals and amps and stuff, but you know, the bass has a lot to do with it. And the strings, sponsored by Diodario, that's pretty fucking cool, no?
Yes. Yeah, I was very proud when they agreed to that.
How did that come about?
I've been chasing them for years, actually. I've been like, and they never really replied. But then a friend of mine who is already endorsed by them, I think, I can't remember if I maybe posted something on Facebook like, I need to find a string endorsement. I've been like hounding Diodario for ages, but they haven't said anything. And he was like, oh, I could recommend you. I think it's better to go in with a recommendation from someone who's already involved rather than just, you know, sending all these emails. So he recommended me. They checked out my page, and they said, oh yeah, cool, you've got all this. It was mostly from the following online. I think that's what they're looking for. A lot of brands these days. They said, you know, at least 10,000 followers on these platforms, and I already had more than enough. So they were like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll try it out. And yeah.
It's such that's awesome, but like it goes to it's
the way of the world now, though.
It's such a shame. Like just say if you had 300 followers.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Diodario would be lucky to have you just play their strings. The type of bass player you are, but just because you would have 300 followers. Oh well, you know, as soon as you get a little more, Becky, please come back to us. Like, I think it's bullshit with a lot of things in the world.
I think that's how the music industry is. And Becky, I'll tell you just like, so like Archie and I are obviously in a band together, and we do well in our hometown area, right? You know, it matters how many tickets you sell. And it may not sound like much, but you know, we sell 100 tickets. So we get to play a big theater that's local to us because I'm not sure they give a shit how we sound. They just care that you sell 100 tickets. And so part of that's all, it sucks, but I mean, you built a huge following. So that's awesome.
I mean, I think maybe before, like, maybe like in the 90s and before that, they would probably just endorse artists just based on their touring schedules and how big they were, and it is more out of the like brand loyalty. They want them to keep coming back and talking about them in interviews. But because now they have the platform of the internet where there's loads of people playing and they can talk about the products, because you watch a big band on stage and you don't know what kind of strings they're playing. They probably don't have any advertisement for those strings. It doesn't really matter how big your gig is anymore. But if you can directly speak to people when they're sat at home in their bedrooms through their phone and just be like, these are these cool new strings. It's got a lot more power than even being in a big band touring did. So, I know of people who have really played massive shows and they're like, can you help me? I'm really struggling to get an endorsement. And I'm like, I can't believe that. You're doing these massive shows and still struggling. But I guess it is just that the brands know that to reach people where they're in the convenience of their own home and they've got their credit card right next to them and they know where to hit them and how to reach them. And I guess that's the way. It's just Facebook and Instagram and everything like that. So it doesn't seem like a shame that a lot of like bedroom guitar players can get an endorsement over like a big band. But I don't know. I think both are doing really cool stuff. And I guess it's just the thing that works, isn't it?
I think it actually speaks to your talent that you've amassed, you said 90,000, whatever it is, followers. And, you've never played in America, right? And I'm sure that's a huge amount of people that follow you. And I think that's the ultimate compliment.
Yeah, no, that is quite cool. That, I don't need to have advertised specifically in that area for any reason. And they've just kind of caught onto it. In fact, my biggest following is in Mexico and stuff like this.
Wow.
Lots of South American fans, loads. But I started using Spanish hashtags. So that's
Beso.
That was a smart thing going on there.
Mucho, good beso. I don't even want to embarrass myself. Take it back to we were talking about sponsorships, right? Dario, NAMM, speaking at NAMM for the first time, or going. It had to be a surreal moment for you.
Yeah, it was.
People coming up to you out of nowhere, just be like, that I love you, I love your bass play. Like, talk to me about that. Yeah,
it was crazy. We were just wandering around, and so many people had brought, maybe they brought like Hands Off Gretel CDs for me to sign and stuff like this, and people recognized me. And the biggest thing was that a lot of artists that I look up to and have followed for a while knew who I was, and I was just like, "What is going on here?"
Yeah.
Dino Caceres from Fear Factory.
Fear Factory, yeah.
Came over. I was at the one of the after show, the gigs, the big Metal Allegiance gig, and he came over to me and was like, "Oh, Becky, cool bass videos." I'm like, "Whoa!" I saw your cover of one of my songs, and I just wanted to say it was great. And
I saw that. That was an awesome cover. Yes.
Yeah. And Ozzy's bass player as well. I thought I recognized him, sat down at NAMM, and I was like, but his stage name is different to his official name. So on his little name tag, it just said Rob. But I'm like, I'm sure that's Blasco, the guy from
Blasco. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, but it says it's Rob, so maybe it's someone else. Maybe I won't go over. And then he came over to me and was just like, "Oh, hey Becky, I really like your I saw your Bark at the Moon video and I thought it was cool." I'm like, It's great. Like the internet's amazing. All these Instagram
right
cover videos. You don't know who it's going to reach. It's really cool. I'm so glad that all the celebrities are on it as well.
Yeah. We heard he's a cool guy. We interviewed Johnny Chow from Stone Sour, and he was the one, he said, that actually put him in touch with Stone Sour to get in that band. So last guy,
awesome.
Definitely.
Becky, network with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep in contact with that dude.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to make it out to NAMM. I play guitar here and there. I play
I
bass
think
here and
you
there.
should go next year.
Yeah, I think so.
You should do it.
Best friends trip. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll meet you there. You can do some more interviews.
Oh, that'd be awesome. So from what I've seen, you're not just a bass player in the sense of, I got this bass player, she's going to play in the band with us. I listened to a couple of songs from each band, and I feel that they write around you in a sense, somewhat, as far as like, all right, you want to what? Guitar's dropping out here, and then now over the verse, it's just a bass line with an easy drum beat. Like I notice a little pattern of that within all the bands. How do you feel about being pretty much the star of each band?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I think everyone I like make music with at the moment has kind of got an idea of, I feel like they've got a good idea of how to create kind of light and shade and like contrast in music, and they value everyone's input, and they want to make a feature of every instrument because it makes it more interesting to like, have like a drum solo here rather than just like, okay, vocals, guitar solo, vocals.
Yeah.
I think just the musicians I work with have an understanding that it's cool to show off different parts of the band, and you might as well do it if you've got like musicians who are able to do it. Then just it's cool. But I think it is kind of coincidence that the Fury album has got quite a few like bass solos and bass breaks in it. I don't really know why that happened.
I think we know why.
Yeah, I think you're being a tad bit modest there.
But no, I'm glad it does. But yeah, it was weird. The first like couple of singles we put out, people were like, "Oh, there's a bass solo in this song. Is every song on the album going to have a bass solo?" And I'm like, "Oh no, that's not."
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Talk to me about Hands Off Gretel. Now, out of your bands, me personally, I gravitate more towards Hands Off Gretel just because I think it's like a little more punk, a little more raw than the other projects. How did you come about in that band?
So they were touring around the same time that I was with I Destroy. Okay. And we shared a few lineups because we're both, UK punk bands, female fronted. There's a lot of all female fronted punk gigs in this country. I don't know if that's a thing over there. We shared a bill a couple of times. So I met them through that, and then their bass player left in I think 2017, and they just needed someone to cover their gigs as many as they could. And I had some availability that summer, and so I was just a guest musician for them for I guess it was almost 9 months. I think I was just covering the odd gig.
Like a hired gun, so to say? Like a hired gun?
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was really enjoying it, and then they were starting to, were looking for someone permanent, and I was, at the time, I was kind of like, well, I've already got like all of these bands, like Fury, I Destroy, Triaxis was coming to an end, and I was like, I want to focus on these and really do a good job of it. So I was like, no, I don't want to join the band, but I really enjoyed doing these tours anyway. But then they were advertising for quite a while, and I kept seeing the advert pop up in my timeline being like, looking for a bass player, like ideally needs to be like a female bass player because we want like female backing vocals. And I don't know, so I kept seeing the advert and seeing people respond being like, oh, I live in New York, but I really want to be in the band, so maybe I could fly over once in a while and be in your band. And I'm like, what? And then people being like, oh, I started playing guitar a few months ago, but maybe if I switch to bass, then I can join your band, so I really want to be in your band. I'm like, no, you need someone, the band's great. You need someone really cool who's going to do this justice. And then I started to feel a bit like attached to the band and like it was mine, and a bit jealous of all these other people who were applying. So then I realized that I actually wanted to be in the band myself. So then I called them up and said, I really want to be in the band. Will you have me full time? And then, I don't know, people like, all the fans were just like, well, that was obviously going to happen. Like, why did you even try advertising? Like, we've already made fan art with Becky in the band.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So today, after this interview, you're going to, we're all stuck inside. What music will you listen to? Like, what is your influences and what do you gravitate to now?
I would say at the moment, I like to put on my like Discover Weekly on Spotify and try and like find new stuff that I haven't heard before, and go down those kind of like exploration holes of interesting stuff. But I've been trying to listen to some local bands in the kind of bands that are doing stuff now, because I always get really stuck in like listening to like 80s bands all the time because I love them so much. But yeah, I've been trying to like find some current bands to get into, because it's so much more fulfilling when you can actually go and see them play live and they don't cost like £70 to go to a show. So I've been listening to just today a band called Nova Twins. They're kind of more I don't know, more like dance music and weird like effects, little duo band from London, and they're really cool. And Saint Agnes, I was listening to them as well today, a bit more like dark kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to listen to everything really. A lot of kind of prog and stuff too. But that's again going back to like a lot of old music as well.
like I said before, Archie, I give Archie to skim through all the. He finds me new music to listen to. Like he does what you do and like listens to all that stuff and he's like, hey, check this out, check this out. And I, they're normally we're on the same wavelength. But what influences though, as far as bands or even bassists that you may have grown up with or people that you've admired that you feel like you kind of influenced your career?
I would say obviously Cliff Burton, Geezer Butler. I think more recently, I've always loved Geezer Butler's playing, but I think more recently I've realized that is definitely my favorite bass player in terms of like his style. It's all very like improvised and bluesy, and he never plays the same bass line exactly the same twice. It's all just like very flowing and cool. I really like Lemmy's playing, of course. I mean, I don't play with a pick. My style is nothing really like Lemmy's. I mean, the tone is kind of similar.
Yeah.
I've changed the pickups on the Rickenbackers, which is quite similar to his. He used Seymour Duncan's as well, modified in his Rickenbackers. So, so I guess those would be the big influences. Yeah, and just all those kind of early kind of metal bands, really.
Those guys were kind of successful, I'll say, right?
They kind of made it.
They were okay.
Now, do you? I feel like I saw like a documentary with Lemmy. Like he played out of guitar amps, I swear. Or am I wrong? Or did you ever even hear? Yeah.
I think he did. Yeah, he used the distortion on like a Marshall.
Yeah. Such powerful bass playing from him, that obviously an icon, and that's someone great to look up to.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about the Bristol Rock Center. I think you're a co-owner.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct. Now this is a private tuition company.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to university to study music.
Okay.
And I met some people there, some friends, and when we've kind of finished, came to the end of our time at university, we were like, what are we going to do at the end of this? We need something to be able to support ourselves as professional musicians. And I'm not sure if the gigs are going to completely rocket off and start making money for a while. So we decided to kind of pool our efforts together. Like a lot of people come out of university, out of that university, and start teaching just on their own and independently, or they work for a big company. But we decided to like start it right from the beginning, and we had like a collective of a couple of drummers, a few guitarists, bass player, singers, and we just kind of built it from the ground up. So we started in one of the guitar tutors in his garage. We were just teaching from there, and then we got very busy, and we got this studio. So it used to be a doctor's surgery in like a little kind of quite quiet little area of Bristol, and we soundproofed the hell out of it and put some drum kits in there and lots of guitar amps and stuff. And now it's our teaching studio.
God, where do you find the time?
That's awesome.
It was I don't know. Well, we didn't have anything else to do really once we'd finished university. We had like hardly any money coming in to afford it, but we took out a loan and started kitting the place out, and eventually the students started trickling in, and it was we're really proud of what we built. It's been really
How many students are we at now?
I think maybe 120 or more.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I think so. Yeah, it's great. We've got I think 9 different tutors on our books, and they're all really great. It's all people that we met through university in the area who have come through, I don't know, learning, and then we kind of give them their first kind of teaching job, and it's great.
Now, is this something that's online right now?
We haven't. We actually decided not to take it online because there were so many of our students that were struggling to swap over to Skype lessons. Skype lessons. So rather than lose like 50% of our people, we decided to just close completely, because we can get like we're trying to get like help from the government to, if we close completely, but if we're half open, then we can't really get that. It's like a really difficult situation. So we had to kind of get all of our tutors to stop teaching, which is unfortunate for them, but kind of the best we can do at the moment.
I think that's awesome. I think like, so something that like, it's like what you're doing is like a labor of love, you know, it's something that you love. And I don't think you could ever go wrong doing something like that. Like, I think that's never going to be, you know, a bad thing, or, you know, and I'm sure, you know, the love of music you have, it's not, you know, it's, you're not looking to be a millionaire off of that. You're looking to, you know, teach and give to the next generation and do what you love.
Yeah. I think the best thing about this school is that all the tutors are really just excited for their students, and they're keen for it. And we put on a load of extra events, like band workshops, where all the kids of different disciplines, different instruments can come together, learn the same song, and perform together. We put on gigs for the students, and we just basically just force them into bands, because kids, I think, especially these days, like they're a bit shy about it, and a lot of them will, I don't know, they're good players, but when you tell them to like, oh, go introduce yourself to this guitarist because they like the same music they do, they have this like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But you have to push them, and then just be like, okay, you will play this song together. Go into that rehearsal room. We'll come back in 10 minutes, and if you need to get that song together, and then they just do it, and then, you know, eventually they'll form like a real band, and we can put them on to different shows. But yeah, they need a push, and you need to just find that right kind of environment to get them playing.
I always want to know this. Now, I can't read or write music, and I know plenty of musicians can.
You can't read. You can't even read like words.
That's my nemesis on the other line over there. What's the like? There's something organic that comes that, you know, from musicians that can't read or write, that, you know, it just flows out of them, and it could be outside the box, and it, you know. But what is the difference between someone like you that would know where to go on the fretboard next, someone that you can read and write, I presume? What would be the difference, writing music wise, and jamming with bands, and just coming in knowing your shit?
I don't know. I guess it is slightly more like mathematical, and so I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where, you know, you go your whole time through like music education being like, oh, it's a good thing you're learning how to do this properly, and then you kind of get into a certain point in your life where you meet all these other musicians who just never learn any of that stuff, and I'm like, well, they're doing just fine without it. Why do I have to do all that?
It makes me laugh that, like, you know, you'll see Dave Grohl on an interview. He's like, I can't fucking read or write music, man. I just, you know, and he's got like one of the biggest bands in the world. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it just, I don't know. I think whatever tool you use to do it, it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, I guess if you learn the theory behind it, then you already know what to do, even if you don't really know what's going on. I guess like you can make more sensible choices rather than just messing around with stuff. I guess when you start jamming it, but. Yeah, it's gotcha. But then you can get that by just developing your ear as well. So I don't know, both are useful. I wouldn't say one is any better than the other.
Arch, I think that's our problem. We haven't made any sensible choices, and music or life, we haven't.
Yeah, well, you know, in the book of right or wrong, we know what we take. No, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of times where jamming out with people and stuff, and you know, I'm like, oh, maybe I can go to this. Oh, that note don't sound well, but someone like you would know not to go to that note and to go somewhere else, and you know, stuff like that.
But then I think it's good to, like, well, you know, once you learn the rules, then you know how to break them, and if you want to make something that sounds a bit like weird, and you want something to sound wrong but you know, if you want something to sound uncomfortable, you know, not safe notes, then you also know what to do there. I don't think it limits you in any way doing either, really. It's just, I guess, learning to read and write it means it's kind of easy to teach it, so that's kind of helped me. But I think in terms of like just performing it doesn't really make any difference in terms of like band stuff.
So during this time where we're kind of isolated, are you writing your ass off? Are you taking care of business? What are you doing as far as musician wise?
Mostly taking care of business. Yeah, like this place. So in Bristol Rock Centre, my music school. I don't know. There's a lot of admin going on because of the situation with furlough for our staff and things like that. Trying to sort that out. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. And I set up a Patreon account so that I can do like music lessons through there rather than to keep teaching as much. Well, I think I'll keep teaching one-to-one people, but that some of it can just move on to, I'll just upload this lesson and then lots of people can access it rather than just spending a lot of time on a few different people. So I don't know, I'm trying to move towards that kind of thing.
Got it.
And also for like fans and followers to follow it if they just want to support the music, even if they're not interested in bass tabs and lessons. And also other content like more like behind the scenes stuff. I know the kind of thing a lot of people use on their Patreon where you get early access to stuff and
gotcha.
Behind the scenes photos, videos, stuff like that. So yeah, I've never I haven't really followed anyone else on Patreon before, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm like 1 month in, and I still am trying to figure it out, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I just want to say that from your videos on Instagram to some of the songs that I'm hearing with these bass solos to your playing, you are going to be a force to reckon with. I would never, ever ask a woman her age, but you look like your career just started. We'll keep it at that. So I think you have a long road ahead of you. And I can't wait to see what the hell is going to happen for Becky Baldwin in about 5 years, 6 years.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, things have just accelerated a lot in the last couple of years. So I'm really happy that the hard work paid off. All the I don't know, all the struggling in like small venues and having nobody come to your gigs and like not enough bass students to make ends meet with the rent and like all this terrible stuff is kind of in the past, and now it's like starting to really gain some momentum with my bands, and I'm really happy about that. It's awesome.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media, on Patreon, whatever it may be.
Everything pretty much is Becky Baldwin Bass. So if you just go on beckybaldwinbass.com, you'll find links to the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon and stuff. So yeah, you'll find me with my triple B.
Also, I wanted to jump in there and say custom jewelry, correct?
Oh yeah. I've been doing that today, making jewelry out of bass strings.
Give us a little insight on that. Where did this start from?
Like, how did I figure out?
How'd you get into making your custom jewelry?
I don't know. I was just like holding on to my old string packets for such a long time. Like I'm a bit of a like hoarder. I don't like throwing things away. So I have these piles of strings, just being like, one day I'll have something to do with these. And then I started thinking like maybe people would be interested in buying them as bass strings, and then I sold a few like packs. As just used strings, and it's, even if you sell them for like less than what you bought them for, it's just clearing the space out. You don't need them anymore anyway. And then I started to think of what I could make them into that people would like, and I looked around some like YouTube tutorials about how to make them into jewelry, and tried it out, and it started to work, and so now I sell them at gigs and on my web store. So it's been really cool. I like recycling as well.
That's awesome.
Many hats. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to these two schmucks from New Jersey.
Thank you. It's been really cool. It's been a cool chat.
Yeah.
I'll say just from our little talk here, like Archie said in the introduction, you're a virtuoso bass player. I feel like you're even a better person, and that's awesome. And we appreciate that, you taking your time to talk to us. And we know big things are on the horizon for you.
Thank you so much. That's really sweet. I hope you're right.
Well, trust me, we are. It's a spoiler alert. We are.
Yeah. We might not know anything, but we can recognize talent.
Thank you.
So hopefully in a short period to come, you're in New York, New Jersey, you're touring. We'll stop by, say hello in person, have a shot. So Becky Baldwin, find her in the band Hands Off Gretel, Fury, BeckyBaldwinBass.com, Bristol Rock Center, her custom jewelry. What else do we do, Becky? What else do we do?
I don't know what else.
She's like, what do you need? I'll help you fix your car. I'll help you do this. I'll help you do that. Becky, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a good day. Thank you.
And stay safe, okay?
Very well.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was Becky Baldwin, bass player for Hands Off Gretel. Just love her positive attitude in the music business. She's going to go super far. I fucking know it. I can feel it. A virtuoso, to say the least, on the low end. You could check out Hands Off Gretel at handsofgretel.co.uk. You can check her out at BeckyBaldwinBass.com. You can check her out at Becky Baldwin Bass on Instagram. Check out her cool covers. She just did a Misfits cover that kills it. She did an Iron Maiden cover that was slamming. Let me just tell you, a force to be reckoned with. Becky Baldwin. With that being said, Rocco, do you have anything left to say to the people?
If you're going to vote for Kanye, then you're smoking the ganja, and you were definitely part of Dicks Out for Harambe, then you're listening to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Be out.